Yeah, that's the best we can do.
皆さんこんにちは。
Hello everyone, I'm Masahiro Sakurai, director of Super Smash Bros.
Alright, let's
Ultimate
go.
from Sora Limited.
今回はなんと事前にファイターが何の
Let's go.
種
We'll
類
be
だか
using
わからない
today's showcase to give you a first look at our next DLC fighter.
実はこの
Actually, hardly anyone knows what we'll be announcing today, even among Nintendo staff worldwide.
開発者の中
The
で
development team and other stakeholders have been working on this fighter with the utmost secrecy,
故に
which means other Nintendo staff around the globe will only start making preparations for release after the showcase has been broadcast.
Oh, really?
So, it won't be available right away.
Okay.
Please understand that it will take
That's
a
actually
little
what I
time.
expected.
I
That's
think
what I
even many
expected.
Nintendo employees will be surprised to see this and say,
Europe getting a
wow,
good time
really?
slot. Honestly, it was like part of my theory.
So,
Europe gets a good
let's all
time
share in
slot
the
for
fun of
Direct.
getting our hands on the latest information.
Yeah, then it means not playable.
However,
anymore.
even
I
if you
just
say,
hope it's not
that's
during
not the
Genesis
character I was
trip.
picturing, I hope you don't have any hard feelings. We've prepared a fighter reveal video. Once it starts, I think you'll figure out who it is pretty quickly.
それでは
Now, let's do this.
Alright, Phoenix. Come on, Phoenix, right? I'm ready. Please, Sakurai. Please. Please.
The time has finally come to unleash the forbidden spell of Zaharas upon our enemies!
What were you thinking, charging right into an enemy's trap? As you and I are one, I too am trapped within this void. In time, our hearts and minds will cease to be.
The entire chat
Are you
getting
prepared to
debated.
die?
Please be debate.
I thought as much. I also do not wish to die. And yet,
Palu 2.0.
there is no other choice.
Yeah, the objection needs to come in now.
You must join Smash. Join Smash Brothers already! What in the world are you waiting for?
So joining Smash consumes even the darkness itself!
Please be a unique. Please be a unique. Sword fighter. That up tilt looked really good actually.
So you return, and sooner
Well,
than
people
expected.
saying I knew it.
I
I
see.
haven't heard a
Too many
single person
swordsmen,
in
are
my
there?
stream
And
predicting
you,
this
you
character.
wield the sword as well? What will you do? Huh. So that is how you plan to win the day? So be it. I reward your cleverness this time. How is this?
Well, that's 3.
Of anyone, you should be able to handle the hero's relics. With Arid Fire, strike with superior reach.
That was pretty crazy, Reed.
Use Amir's overwhelming power. Unleash the blinding speed of Failnaught. Along with the Sword of the Creator, each weapon matches a direction.
Yeah, okay, so that's what it meant with 3. Yeah, it was a reason it held up 3 fingers.
Your will and mine be now as one! To you, both sides of time are revealed!
Incoming
Through
S
Smash,
tier.
show the world!
Yeah, It's very hard to say based on so little footage, but yeah.
Yes, there you have it. Byleth from Fire Emblem Three Houses is joining the battle. Fire Emblem Three Houses was released just last summer, so it's still very new. Even so, you'll soon be able to play as them in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
But wasn't it like...
This release is planned for January 28th. You'll have instant access if you have the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Fighters Pass, and it will also be available to purchase individually. In case you're not familiar with Fire Emblem or Three Houses, I'll explain it to you, so don't worry.
Yeah, I think
what is Fire Emblem?
On Tuesday the 28th.
It's really hard to pronounce in Japanese. The producer said it's okay if I just say Fire Emblem. But when writing it, if you don't write Fire Emblem, the Fire Emblem police will come and get you, so please be careful. The series' first entry launched in Japan on the Famicom in 1990. You could say it was a pioneer in the genre of tactical role-playing games. You might be wondering what makes it particularly tactical.
Before going to the
Well,
airport.
it's tactical in that it simulates combat. You can think of it as moving pieces in a board game, or in other words, a game in which you advance units across a grid and battle. When we talk about tactical games of that era, there were lots of ones in which you command tanks, aircrafts, and so on. But Fire Emblem was unique because each unit was a specific character, sort of like in role-playing games. Plus, something made it stand out from other Nintendo products.
Wait, is the mic lower now?
Characters could permanently die. That's pretty direct language though, so perhaps we should just say they're sleeping with the fishes. But really, if a character fell in battle, you'd lose that unit. They'd be gone and you couldn't use them again. Recent entries in the series maintain this concept of permadeath to some degree in classic mode and what have you, but a lot of games now allow strategic withdrawals, so to speak. In the older games, your units would really be gone, never to be mentioned again. Scary.
Yeah, I'll lower it a little bit. Hopefully that's better. It's just people kept telling me to increase. So I like kept increasing it, but yeah, it's hard to get like
several characters
good
also
feedback
appear in
from
the
chat, I
Super Smash
guess.
Bros. Series, and 6 of the 7 can use a counterattack. It's their down special. There's actually a reason for this. When I was considering how to incorporate Fire Emblem fighters into Super Smash Bros. Melee, I thought it might be interesting to reflect the turn-based nature of the original game. First comes your opponent's turn. They attack and you counter. Next comes your turn.
Dude, it's honestly way too many characters
And
to
now,
have
Fire Emblem Three
counters in this
Houses
game.
is the 17th game in the series. People who aren't Japanese in particular might be thinking, 17 games? There are that many? Well, if you include Fire Emblem Heroes in the remakes, but you don't include the Satellaview game, Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE, and Fire Emblem Warriors, then it comes out to 17 games. Let's try saying them in the Fire Emblem Can You Say It challenge. I'll give it a try.
暗黒竜と光の剣、外伝紋章の謎、聖戦の系譜、トラキア776、封印の剣劣化の剣、聖魔の功績、荘園の奇跡、
Yeah,
暁
I feel like
の
no one
新
expected
暗黒竜
expected
新紋章
this.
覚
But I
醒
mean, yeah.
ヒーローズエコー
It's
ズ風化説
been
が
a
There you
lot
go,
of characters
17.
from Fire Emblem, so
今変な数え方してます
So, you saw how I was counting in a weird way,
but I
right?
mean if the character plays
I was
fun,
counting in
I'll be
binary.
cool with it anyway.
これが全部
This is 0. Fold this here and you get 1, and then you get 2, then 2 plus 1 equals 3. So, this would be 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then you get 16. Add 1 and you get 17. Awesome, isn't it?
The salt,
You
I can
actually
imagine.
count up
I
to
know
31 on one hand.
people have a lot of people don't like
And if you use
Fire
both
Emblem is
hands,
getting
you
so
can
many
count all the way
reps.
up to 1023.
片身の数を数えるのに目の数を数える
If you've given up counting the knots in a tatami mat, you could always give it a go. What is Fire Emblem Three Houses? In Japanese, the male version of the main character is called Bereto and the female version is called Beresu, but in English they share the same name, Byleth. Byleth becomes a professor who ends up leading one of 3 academic houses. Once you've chosen a house, you guide them through their school life, and, well, you end up fighting the other houses.
Alright, chat, guess now. Is it going to be another character reveal or no? I do not think it's going to be another character reveal in this one.
It's a very sad game in which your former allies become enemies, turn hostile, and try to kill you. To understand the concept of Fire Emblem 3 Houses, I played an early version of the game before its release. I've done the same thing before, with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, for example.
Okay, seems like almost everyone
wait until launch to experience it, or we'd have never made it in time. For that title, I borrowed an early version of the game for 2 days, ran around all the areas, saw the ending, and realized for the first time, I guess we can't really have Breath of the Wild's Princess Zelda as a fighter.
Is left to be included. I could see them announce something like that. I think that's
I did the same this time, but with there being 3 houses and multiple endings, it was really hard to get a feel for it. And of course, there weren't any walkthroughs I could reference. The game has multiple routes and the outcome of each is very different. Your experience will vary depending on the route you choose, and many of the characters you meet will adopt different roles in the story. I'll try to avoid spoilers when I'm talking about the fighter. I hope you'll understand. Before my demonstration, I should point out that when I did the Terry Bogard showcase video, I mentioned that it was recorded a month in advance. But this time, we have to account for the holidays and such, so we're filming 2 months in advance of this video's release. Right now, it's actually November. Therefore, some of what I'm about to show you might differ a bit from the finished version. As always, I'm using a special in-game camera and such for demonstration purposes. Here I go.
Well, I mean, with some of the other, character, announcements...
So, this is our new fighter,
they have clearly filled out with, different stuff, different content.
Sadly, they're lacking in mobility. It's maybe a bit better than Robin's, but that's about all you can say for them. Throws are not their strong point either. Their grab lacks range. But actually, you could say that they're distance demon.
Alright, let's see
the hero's relic they use changes depending on the direction you input with the stick. Each of the hero's relics is a weapon that appears in Fire Emblem 3 Houses. They look like bones, and there's a reason for that. First, let's talk about the weapon Byleth uses for upward inputs, the Sword of the Creator. The Sword of the Creator here is Byleth's default weapon. They use it for flurry attacks and tilt attacks, such as down tilt attacks, where it takes the form of a whip.
Yeah, range for sure.
They also use the sword for dash attacks and other moves.
At least on most of the moves.
For their up smash attack, they'll whip the sword upward to launch enemies in the air. For their up air attack, they'll wave the whip sword overhead.
Seems pretty good for
the hit
Sharking.
Detection for this attack lasts for a relatively long time. The up special move is really something. The sword extends like this, allowing you to do things like this. It was pretty terrifying.
That's not so good though, because you were going to end up being above your
and in
opponent,
addition,
which is not where you want to be.
You can do awful things like this. That said, you'll launch opponents upward until their damage reaches a certain percentage.
Oh, Sakurai trying to show us true combos.
Exceed that percentage and you'll need to be careful. You may find it helpful to mid-air dodge. I've already shown this, but you can also use it to latch onto edges. So that's the up special. Now, for the sideways inputs. This is Erdvar, the same name as the weapon from Celtic mythology. First, we'll go through the forward and back air attacks. As you can see, they have a long reach. Like so. Marth's air attack keeps opponents in check too, right? If Byleth does the same thing, you'd win out, so you should be able to beat it. Next, the side smash attack. This also has a long range.
That's good.
It'll connect even from here.
I felt pretty strong for being so low damage, but it looked like...
Also, if you add an upward tilt,
quite a bit of bend lag.
And if you've knocked an opponent down, the side attack won't hit unless you add a downward tilt to aim for them. By the way, the tip of the lance is more powerful. The shaft part is weaker, so it's not suited to close combat. It won't deal much damage, and it won't launch opponents far. That's why, as a rule, you want to hit with the blade part aimed upward. Or downward in this case. Next, the side special move. Byleth will simply swing the lance like this, but again, it has excellent reach. For example, even when your opponent is at this distance, it'll still hit.
Dude, also, I actually got a pretty funny idea now. Since we said we were gonna get an emote of the new character, what if we get
like
the emote to be with the debated face? Since everyone got so
But as
debated.
you'd expect, it can be easily shielded, so be
That
careful.
just crossed my mind since people were typing that in chat.
Use it in midair and you'll carve up a large area. Returning to the side air attacks from earlier, they have great horizontal reach, but they lack verticality. So this complements it well.
That's how we're gonna do it then.
Although you'll be vulnerable when you
debated with this face.
Now, for the downward inputs. For these, Byleth will use an axe called Emir. It's named after a weapon that appears in Ugaritic myth. First, the down air attack. It really is strong. You can try for a meteor effect with this attack. Next is the down smash attack. A heavy swing of the axe back and forth. As you can see, it has a great deal of launch power.
Feels like a lot
for
of
the
these
down
moves are
special,
like quite...
Byleth channels all their energy into a devastating strike. It's a bold
maybe
move,
on
similar
a
to the
spot
Falcon
dodge read,
Punch,
but even
here's
then,
what makes it
that
different.
looked very slow.
When readying the move, there's a super armor effect,
Of course. I was just waiting for
which allows you to withstand an attack.
what the bullshit was gonna be.
Just
So far
you
we
know,
haven't heard
if
any
you
meter,
execute
though.
a Falcon Punch at about
No
the
like
same time,
combat mechanic.
it plays out like this. It's a bit slower than the Falcon Punch, but due to the super armor effect, you have the advantage. Unless you get grabbed.
Oh, is that like Wonder Wing pretty much?
Another notable aspect is that it lets you pass through platforms. While you're charging up, you can breeze past platforms like this to reach a lower area. It won't let you jump, but you could use it as a surprise attack. Also, you can turn around during the move. The swing takes a while, so if an opponent runs behind you during the move, you can quickly change direction. Even though it can be hard to land a hit with this move, it can be really effective when used against a group of opponents. Plus, even if you fail to land a direct hit, any opponents on the ground nearby will still be launched a little. It's as if the quaking of the ground launches them. By the way, earlier I talked a little bit about the other Fire Emblem characters' moves. I don't recommend using this down special against fighters from the Fire Emblem series, because you'll just get loads of counters. It hits with that much power in a single attack. Counters can actually multiply the power of blocked attacks, and using easily anticipated
Wait,
attacks
what?
like this could
It
just
was
get
at
you
zero.
hit by counter after counter. Next, we have the
that
neutral
move
moves.
looks hella
The bow you
fucking
use
risky
is
against
called
counter
Failmark,
characters
which
then.
shares its name with the bow from the Knights of the Round Table. It only appears in a few neutral moves. You've got the neutral air attack. This attack is similar to a move of Pit's and other fighters like him. It lets you spin the weapon around. It's also easy to create certain combos with it.
Alright, show us those certain
And with the
combos.
neutral special, you'll let loose an arrow. It seems pretty straightforward, right? But there are a few noteworthy aspects to this bow. First, the biggest difference between this bow and Link's is that once you enter the command, you can keep charging until it's ready. You can't release it partway through the charge, so when it does fire, the arrow travels at high speed. It's also very powerful.
Okay. Well,
that said, you can still
actually,
cancel out of the stance
it's too many
using the shield button.
projectiles. Okay,
You can also change
could
direction while in the stance. It works up until this point, but if you keep holding the button, you'll unleash a powerful arrow that looks like a beam of light. You can perform this move by keeping the button held down.
I mean, we
You
could
charge up power like so.
we
Charge
could
a bit
do
more,
a little
and
bit,
then fire.
more. Yeah, it's just like as I
But
said,
again,
I've gotten
you'll
like
need to
very
take
mixed
care when
feedback
using
on the
this
sound,
move.
and people
For
kept
one,
telling
when
me
you
to
powered up
increase
the
the other
move to its
audio
max, there's
over
no
and
way
over.
to cancel out of it. Not even with the shield button. In other words, you're committed to firing it. So you see, a situation like this is pretty terrible. Once you've entered the stance, you won't be able to do anything. Which means it's quite the risky attack to use against fighters who have a move with a reflector effect. But you could always just aim into the fray, as it is, after all, a long-range move, letting you deal a sudden blow to opponents. So you need to think carefully when
I
using
mean,
this
I'm gonna
projectile
play the
weapon.
character a lot.
By this
Or
final
actually,
smash
since
is
I'm
called
flying,
Progenitor
I
God
hope
Ruptured
to get a
Heaven.
few hours
In the
in.
original game, there's a move called Ruptured Heaven.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
so
enhanced
annoying.
version.
Honestly, I'm not surprised though. I'm not surprised. It's like honestly to be expected, sadly.
As you can see, you team up with the mysterious Sothis and launch an attack together. Now, let's talk about the color variations. It's set up so that the default and odd-numbered color variations are male, while the even-numbered ones are female. However, the third, fourth, and fifth colors are, as you can see, reminiscent of the house.
How many Fire Emblem characters
Those of you
are
who
in
played the
game now?
original game will of course understand what I'm referring to. The sixth color is based on Sothis, who you just saw earlier. And the seventh and eighth variations have a different hair color, which is based on something that occurs in the course of the original game's story. Didn't we see this variation in the final Smash?
I love how half the responses are too many and half the responses are like trying to give a rough estimate.
Next, I'll introduce the stage. For this one, we of course tried to recreate the place where you spend most of the game, Garreg Mach Monastery.
I will say though that
This
I'm
is how
surprised
Garreg
that
Mach
this is
Monastery
like
is laid out in the original game. From these, we
final
chose to have
one.
it cycle through the
I
marketplace,
expected a
reception
final
hall,
one in the fighter pack to
bridge,
be the most like
and
crazy
Cathedral, all in
reveal,
one stage.
if that makes sense.
It's the type of stage that rotates through different areas, such as these four. Let me introduce each of the guests that appear in these four areas. The first area is the marketplace. I think this is where a lot of people come to do their shopping. The guests that appear here are students of the Blue Lion's house, Dimitri, Dedu, and Ingrid. Not Dimitri, Dudu, or Ingrid. Their names are a bit difficult to say.
Well,
They're largely from the Holy
in
Kingdom of
Ultimate, I'm not
Forest.
entirely
Since
sure,
it's a kingdom,
but
that means they have a
I love
monarch.
Marth and
For that
Melee.
reason, I guess you could say
Even though it's
Dimitri's
not really
future
my
king. He had
best
quite a difficult
character by
life
any
and may or
means,
may not end up with
he's
just
just
one eye.
super cool.
He's an
in Melee.
unfortunate one, that one.
In
There are
Ultimate,
vendors on either side.
I'm not sure actually.
In the original game, these are important booths where you buy all sorts of things, but here you can break them, you see.
Craw maybe?
If you do break them, the stage will expand to the left and right. I wonder where people will buy their supplies now. And in the background, you can see the gatekeeper. You often pass through this area in Fire Emblem 3 houses, and you end up talking to him a lot. Moving through these areas is possible thanks to this mysterious platform. Just when it seems like you've come to a stop,
Yeah,
come crashing back down.
for sure.
You've
Like,
broken through the
yeah,
ceiling
this is
and
not going
slammed
to be a
into the
viable
building.
stage for tournaments.
And the
Or
guests
for
in the
tournaments,
reception
yeah.
hall are Edelgard, Dorothea, and Petra of the Black Eagles.
But honestly,
Take
like
note, it's not spelled Edelgard.
DLC stages
They're from
should
the
not be
Adrestian
expected
Empire.
to be tournament
As
viable.
such, they embrace their military might. Edelgard is one of the characters who is central to the conflict. Depending on the path you take, she'll go through some terrible ordeals.
Yeah, it was like a little bit.
You'll notice
castle,
there are prominent
castle
chandeliers above the
vibes.
stage. It's
For
possible
sure.
to knock them down. However, Byleth can't actually reach it, even though it's their stage. You can reach it with other fighters, though. So, it's nice if you can work your way up there by getting lucky and being launched up, or perhaps by using another fighter as a stepping stone. There we go, I made it. And you can knock it down.
So that can basically be
Also,
like
you can break this
platform
table.
camping. Some characters can't
Like
even,
so.
you know, reach. That's
Just
gonna
like
be the
sign
meta.
that reads Fudin Kazan
That's
in
gonna be the
Suzaku
meta on
Castle
that part.
stage. It can break if you launch the opponent into it at close range. Next up, the bridge. The camera rotates 90 degrees, creating this long area. It's very wide indeed. It's similar to the bridge of Elden stage.
Yep, camping.
The guests are from the Golden Deer: Claude, Hilda, and Lawrence. They belong
But I
to
mean,
the
since it
Leicester
swaps
Alliance.
between different sections, I guess it doesn't like really break.
Because it's an alliance of many noble families,
The game
you could
or
say that
whatever.
they have a wide assortment of members. And Claude is the sharpest of the bunch. Incidentally, both Claude and Hilda are the names of characters that appear in Genealogy of the Holy War, the 4th title in the Fire Emblem series. I guess once you've reached the 17th game and are creating 40 characters for each new entry, you're bound to get a bit of name overlap. The naming process must be tough. Hey, it looks like the Pegasus Knight is busy training. As for the bridge's design, it's just a long pathway, plain and simple. You can expect plenty of blows to be exchanged at the edges of the screen. You could also say it's a place where the fail knot really shines, and in this sense, I think it suits the Golden Deer perfectly. The last area is the Cathedral, only with some platforms you can pass through. The guests appearing in the Cathedral are Sedith, Flame, and Rhea. There's Sedith, who appears to
Damn,
have an
feels
extremely
bad.
strong
Feels
bond
bad,
with his
Leech.
sister, Flame. She seems
Feels
to be
bad.
under the protection of him and Rhea, who you can see fighting during the opening of Fire Emblem Three Houses.
I mean,
All
like,
three have character quirks related to their true identities.
I don't super,
I feel that Flame might be
super
saying
care,
"Shush" at this point,
but
so
I
I'll
will
leave it at
admit
that.
that it's a little bit boring. That
This is a simple area of the stage. All it
actually
has
more
are
than
these
a little bit
platforms.
boring. That it's a Fire
Being the
Emblem
last
character
area, it
again.
may be a place
Since
where
it's a
some
gaming
intense
series with
battles
so
will be
many,
waged.
you know, characters
It'll cycle
already,
through each location in about 2.5 minutes.
and it's also a gaming series I personally don't care about, but I know like some people do.
Okay, today we'll have a tag team battle in Squad Strike with the DLC team pitted against Fire Emblem protagonists from throughout the ages. That'll give us precisely 5 players per side. Alright, here we go, Joker. Joker! And Hero! Gee, we really made a lot, huh? Banjo! By now, I think you know what I'm doing.
No piranha plan for DLC.
But
Well, he was
basically,
not
I'm
part of
trying
the
to
fighter
defeat all
pack.
5
He was like a
opponents,
free
just the
character he
professor.
got.
But as expected, it's going to be a pretty tough battle, so I'm using anything I can get my hands on. It's not going to land that easily. Uh-oh, this is bad. Bennigan's. I better keep my distance.
I wonder if this was like legit the first attempt or not.
I'll use this chance to attack. Got him. That's scary. He's invincible for a moment here. Lots of explosives. Ouch. He perfect shielded that, huh? Good one.
Arrow tech chases.
Like
Let's
this,
go.
like this, or like so. No anti-air, huh? There, the soccer ball connected.
Yeah, that arrow, like, it's so strong when you like
Good.
reflect
There's
it.
Mom.
So it's gonna be a risky move against many characters.
You're in a good spot, Mom. Ah, I shouldn't have taken that. Gardevoir. Well, I guess no one uses projectiles. At this point, it doesn't matter if Gardevoir's there or not. I feel like the enemy might get this Smash Ball. See,
that was
they
so
got
close.
It.
But yeah, Sakurai
They mustn't give up. I can't waste this chance. There's another Smash Ball. Yes, got it. Now, what are you charging up for? There's still more. Whack. Go on, you can take the hammer, but it's mine. Although I'm scared I might get hit with a counter in this state. I hit him. I was trying to fight using Byleth's abilities alone, but what matters is that I won. Good game. It can be fun to play like this, especially in tag team, so I think it's a good idea to try imposing different types of challenges.
Fire Emblem, Soup Skitty.
The end.
Or Soup Skitty.
Now, about the additional music. Since it's from the Fire Emblem series, we'll be adding each of the new tracks to all the Fire Emblem stages.
Isn't it like
There are
already
already
over
a
like
lot of Fire
900
Emblem
songs
tracks
or
in the
something
game.
in Ultimate?
Our selection this time has been made
Closing
taking
in on
those
the
existing
1,000.
tracks into consideration. 11 songs are being added. This includes an arrangement of the main theme in both Japanese and English. I hope you'll enjoy these as well. We're also adding in a new spirit board. It includes the house leaders among some of the other popular characters.
No, this character didn't
So
have
this
any
is
counter
Legend
from
class.
what I remember.
Also, there's a new classic mode route, a heroic legacy, which is designed to let you enjoy classic Fire Emblem stages from throughout the series' history. The final battle is against Master Hand and Crazy Hand, but you'll find that something pretty amusing happens, so look forward to that. Now for the Mii Fighter costumes. Please take a look.
They look so ugly. They look so ugly. Yo, Rockman X. Let's go, Mega Man. Let's go. Ooh, Cuphead. The Cuphead Gunner. Actually might be the highlight of the video. I actually might buy the Cuphead skin. And it's troll people. Troll people with Hagar online.
This time, we're releasing a Cuphead costume. And for those of you who purchased the Cuphead costume, an additional song will be added. It's called Floral Fury, and it's the theme that plays when fighting Cagney Carnation. I hope you enjoy these as well. After purchasing a costume, I recommend using the sharing feature. If someone has created a Mii fighter, you can play using the costume it's wearing immediately after you download it. And now, onto the amiibo. The color palette for Dark Samus looks pretty good, doesn't it? Dark Samus and Richter are planned for release on Friday, January 17th.
Oh yeah, so that's tomorrow then.
And now, with the addition of Violet, the Fighter's Pass is finally complete.
Alright.
The lineup was Joker, Hero, Banjo and Kazooie, Terry Bogard, and Violet. From more than 70 fighters, only 5 have been added. But I must say, this game has always been an exceptional experience. And since the roster was already so large to begin with, right from the start, we intended to make the most out of the new gameplay mechanics and so on. There really were a lot of new mechanics, weren't there? When we add a new fighter, we don't simply make their attacks or their movements a little different. Instead, we try to offer you a whole new style of play. As I stated, we'll continue to release more DLC fighters down the line. I had thought that 1 or 2 might suffice, but, well, have a look.
Alright, now it's coming. Now it's coming. Yo, let's go. Ooh, alright. 6 additional fighters. Let's go. Phoenix Wright, you gotta be
Looks like there will be one more fighter than last time. For this reason, we will be releasing the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Fighters Pass Volume 2. It will be available for pre-purchase on the date shown.
All channel packs will be released by December. Okay,
and now that it's
so by
official,
December,
we intend to move ahead with
so we're
development.
getting. Oh, wait,
Of course, like last time, the
Wait,
content
what did it
will
say?
remain
December,
unknown for now.
like last
and
of
I'm personally
December.
very sorry that we have to release Fighters Pass Volume 2 when the details have yet to be revealed.
wait, did it
Like last time,
say
I'd be
2020
very
or
grateful if,
2021?
despite that,
I
you would
couldn't even
understand
see.
why and purchase it.
I think it was 2020, right?
Furthermore, the new additions have already been decided.
It
Even
must
if
have
I
been
receive
2020.
many requests regarding potential candidates on Twitter, I'm afraid it would be very hard to consider them. But I still hope you'll look forward to it. We're also including a bonus with Fighters Pass Volume 2.
Louis,
Last time,
thank you for the
it
5
was a Rex
months.
costume. But this time, here's what we have. It's
Oh,
a
it
Mii
was
Fighter costume
2021?
for Mii Sword Fighter.
I don't know,
The
like,
ancient soldier
I'm
gear
not sure
from the
what I
Legend
saw
of
actually,
Zelda
because it
Breath of the
disappeared
Wild.
just as I was reading it.
This will not be for sale individually, so it can only be acquired as part of Fighters Pass Volume 2. It's been reported that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the highest selling fighting game in the world. Personally, I don't know if it counts as simply a fighting game, but I guess it's seen as a fighting game around the world. Seems like Street Fighter 2 was in the lead for a while, but now Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has
Yeah, dude,
surpassed it in
Sakura,
total
embrace
sales.
it. Embrace it. Fighting
However,
game.
I'm not sure if this is accurate. There were 5 versions of Street Fighter 2, or 6 to 7 if we really want to get into the weeds. Plus, there's the arcade versions and the 25 ports to other systems, so I don't know if that's been accounted for. Also, I don't know if that really qualifies as one game. It's up for discussion. So, who knows? But when it comes to a single piece of software, it seems like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is number 1. Although, I still don't know if it can really be called just a fighting game.
Oh my god. Just
I
drop
feel
it,
like it's become
Sakurai.
more than a
Just
fighting
drop
game,
it.
some sort of celebration of gaming or something else entirely. Also, I feel a deep attachment to the 5 DLC fighters. The first Fighters Pass just wrapped up, but it was decided that there will be more DLC, which means no breaks for me. I plan to keep working hard, so I hope you can continue to support us. That's it. Thank you.
Alright, alright. That was cool though, with 6 new characters. That was cool. Alright, the hope for Phoenix Wright lives on. Alright. Yeah, Cuphead was cool. That was cool. All right. Yeah, that's it for the direct. That's it for the direct. I mean, this also probably means we're gonna get like a lot of, you know, balance patches for a long time to come in this game too. So, yeah, that's cool. That's